Hello, I am tatocat. Welcome to my channel. Today we are playing Lucid9. Last time we had to beat up a little girl and her brother, and then Rui became a whore and we smashed the phone. It is pretty what summed up what happened there. Alright, let's continue. I already beat you. Nobody was supposed to know that you were responsible for the killings. The recent ones, or the independent ones. Rio stops in his tracks, his eyes glinting. Well, whatever the independent killings were, it looks like he really was the person behind them. It's a breather that I desperately seize. I tried to cover my fatigue by flinging a challenging look in his direction. You've been busier than I thought. Doesn't seem to be too hard. People don't tend to expect much of me. But you've even made friends in high places, High places? This throws me for a loop. What does he mean by high places? I got that information from Natsuki, and she lives in a shabby apartment in District 6. No, I can't be distracted. I have to keep the conversation flowing, make him lose track of time. Just how many people have we killed? The Aztecs had this remarkable belief system. Would you like to hear it? I just asked to quit. In order to appease the gods, to keep the universe running smoothly, they were to offer constant human sacrifices. Priests would rip out the hearts of prisoners of war while they were yet alive. If they slacked in performing this ritual, the kingdom as they knew it would fall to pieces. That's why you kill people? To keep Isamu running? What kind of reason is that? Oh, what do you think I am, the priest? His voice drops and takes on a tint of something unfamiliar. My spine tingles in apprehension. I am not the priest, child. I am the god. I receive bloody offerings. I do not give them myself. This city must earn my goodwill, lest I paint the streets red with my vengeance. The one who scorned me will be obliterated by the very words of their own mouth. Oh dear child, you know nothing of the beauty of pure, unadulterated strength. I open my mouth, willing a snarky remark to come forth, but there's nothing. My hands are shaking, tight against my throbbing stomach. What kind of madness has seized this guy? I straighten and open my mouth wider, hoping that something will come out. Anything. If I don't say anything, if I don't distract him, even if it means I have to listen to more of this insanity. Your antics amuse me, boy. Our intermission must come to an end. We must return to our little game. Too late, the opportunity has been lost, and now I'm rattled and I can't recover. In terms of psychological damage, he's won handedly. I don't think it could have happened any other way. Like a puppet master overseeing a play, he has total control over every scene. Well, boy, it's your turn. What's your move? Let the girl attack Rio to stall. So, hit her, attack, stall. We'll try to stall some more. I can't keep hitting her. It's a pity that life doesn't change. Whether you can or can't do something. Hit, attack, stall. Stall? Why? Did that happen to you? Oh, are we having a little heart to heart? So again, hit, attack, or stall. He hasn't yelled at it yet, so let's stall. Then something must have happened, something that turned you pretty bitter. He'd love that if it wasn't true. When you hurry up, clock's ticking, boy. Okay, he's mad at me. I guess we're gonna hit the girl. I have no other option. I just have to follow along. My hands shake as I step closer, raising the pipe. Maybe I can get away with hitting softer? No, it's a dumb idea. I know it's a dumb idea. Ryota would immediately know, and then he'd make me hit her again. Can't close my eyes. Might accidentally kill her if my aim is off. So I keep them wide open until the air pulls tears out of them. Then I swing the pipe. Yeah, is what she says. I'm not very good at reading these screamy parts, but I'm trying. Her arm hangs limply over the edge of the chair, bent in an unusual angle that raises bile to my throat. How must she be feeling at this moment? How can she stand it? Held captive for no reason, every nerve screaming fire at her, begging her consciousness to fade, but finding no relief. How can she live through that kind of miserable existence? Say, kid, you're not looking too hot. Wanna call in a sick day? I doubt that's an option. I want to say something unaffected and cynical, something that keeps me safe from the mess of the world. Instead, my mouth opens to pull up a topic to divert the conversation. You said you kill people for fun, essentially. Oh, does that bother you? I assume it would bother most people. But if I remember correctly, the Aztecs, well, they killed other strong warriors to transfer that strength to the sun. So, what made you turn on a bunch of helpless students? Even as I asked the question, the inner crevices of my mind whisper quietly, is it worth it? Isn't this just prolonging an agonizing demise? But what other option is there? Come to think of it, earlier you mentioned being an executioner. Good observation, kid. Let's just say that it's no coincidence that all the victims are connected to the Ikari's son, How fun. You're about to join that number. This makes me falter. Of course, if Yahiko isn't the killer, but has a connection to every single victim, it has to bear significance. How could I have overlooked that? What do you even have against Yahiko? He's harmless, he's gentle, he feels like a little kid in a broken world, something so stupidly innocent that it's refreshing. I have nothing against Yahiko. You're asking the wrong question, like what does he have against the Ikaris? Has nothing against Yahiko, but he's killing people close to him. That's an incredibly drastic maneuver. Why would a serial killer suddenly focus his attention on someone like Yahiko? No matter how hard I think, the answer eludes me. But I can't falter. I can't let him remember to continue the game. Think. If I were Ryota, if I were some psychotic man who loved to kill people, inflict extreme agony, then why would I do such a thing? What is Yahiko that I'm not? What does Yahiko have that I don't? He's an Ikari. Yahiko is arrogant, a dreamer, easily excitable, oblivious. No, these are personality traits. Think deeper. Motive. The Ikari's son, Ryota said before. The Ikaris. If it doesn't have anything to do with past history, they don't really know each other that well after all. Then is it because of money? Money, connections. Yahiko is the son of two higher-ups at Limnisgate. If Ryota doesn't have anything against Yahiko, then could he have something against his parents? If you were aiming for Yahiko's parents, it seems a lot more effective to target the people around them. Still have the brain of yours, I see. Yes and no. Yes, since Yahiko is just an easy avenue to his parents. But targeting the people around the parents themselves? Instant suspicion. Not to mention artless and cliche. If you want to mention cliches, dude, you just compared yourself to a god. For a crazy person, I'd say that's pretty cliche. I thought you'd be smarter than that. A little thought bothers me. Why is he so open with his information? Because he thinks you're going to die. No, I don't have time to consider this right now. I just have to accept it. Think more. I am Ryota. Even now I want to see blood, to hear screams, No, something is clashing. Students. Students aren't a challenge. They're too easy for me. They're wretched pests. Their deaths are simple and insignificant. They will be remembered for, what, a day, 2, perhaps 5 years by their families. But eventually, they will fade into inconsequential nothingness because they are young and meaningless. Another tally in a long list of missing persons. Whereas, if I could get my hands on a politician, or a world leader, or even a company executive, mourning for weeks, months, years, remembrance in history books. The man who killed the king, or the president, or the emperor. I shall make my mark on society forever, a beautiful thread filling up the space in an intricate tapestry. But instead, I've decided to kill students, to capture insignificant little rodents just to put pressure on the Ikari family. What a joke. Why am I even doing this? The Ikari family is threatening me? No, certainly. My judgment would be more swift. I would care not about my own death as long as I could have them suffer first. Were they threatening me, I would see them in their rooms the next night with a knife in my hand and grin on my face. Capital punishment would be insignificant. I would face the chopping block gladly in that case. Money? Perhaps someone is commissioning me with a monetary incentive. As if I am paid in blood. Currency is of little value to my psyche. If I really needed the pocket change, a few black market inquiries would do. Perhaps I need something money cannot buy. Something that only a certain commissioner has. And the only way to get it is to pressure the Ikaris, even if it means killing rabbits. To do that, I started with someone only slightly related to Yahiko, Midori Maeno. They would not even notice. Yahiko may mourn, the compassionate imbecile, but to the Ikaris, it's just an insignificant disappearance. Then Toma Hayashi, who interacted with their son on a greater level, in the orientation group that Yahiko led. They may raise some eyebrows and call it for suspicion, but nothing that the Ikaris can prove. Next is Akane Tsukino, girlfriend of Shoji, who was close to Yahiko due to the Happy Club. Shoji himself followed thereafter. A spiral of people with Yahiko Ikari as its center. The poor soul would not understand what was going on, but surely his parents would. And in return, I would receive something of enormous value, something that money cannot buy, even if it means that I must sacrifice a portion of my dignity. Yama? You, Ryota, are on someone else's payroll? You are a freelancer with a client? You are no artist. You have no satisfaction. How the mighty have fallen. Once a predator feared by all, able to strike whenever and wherever he so pleased. Now, a mindless guillotine with no will of its own. How great is your greed that you would betray your love of art for this? But oh, you fool, you conquered dogs and rats. Silence. His voice seems to advise. I feel his psyche writhing in humiliation, and it's just so thrilling. When they screamed, how easy it must have been to forget. Just as a man can distract himself with symphonies, so can he distract himself with agony. But when you returned, when you lay your head on your pillow, you must have realized the bitterness of your own insignificance. Rabbits, pawns, you are pest control. Do not test me, boy. But I'm caught up in the euphoria, a welcome distraction from the never-ending cycle of pain and panic that plagued me before. Selling your soul for a delusion, a pittance. Do you never wish to go back to happier times, a time where you were a shadow with a name? The independent killings, nothing's more fearsome than the unknown. The people who knew about them, were they terrified? Did they huddle in their beds every night, unable to sleep, thinking that they could be next? Did you stroke your ego knowing that the one who held their fate in his hands was you? Or were those killings also at the discretion of your employer? Were there further connections that the police simply could not deduce? What was that also a primeval commission? Ryota grits his teeth and digs his fingers into the nearest desk, but he doesn't say a word. He has the crazy eyes, though. Then I'm right. I'm right about everything. Here you are, the fearsome Cerberus. Yet, you are bound to a pathetic little leash. Caught up in corporate politics at that. Where there's nothing but bigwigs bickering like toddlers. What exactly do you need so badly? I can't imagine you be craving love or friendship. Give me a quick reminder. What else can money not buy? Respect, naturally good looks, peace of mind, or say an honest politician. Motives, Ryota. Motives are interesting things, aren't they? Everybody likes to think that their motive is special and unique, but in the end, they're all the same. Money, love, power. Which one of those apply to you? Or do you still think you're all that special? That you're something more than an empty little puppet dancing from the strings of someone's fingers? What a sick existence. Like an agonizing, wonderfully meaningless existence. Yama, stop it. This is not winning. Rui's voice shocks me out of character, like a fish suddenly pulled out of water. I stand idly for a moment, my mind blank. Not winning. Of course. I wanted to win over Ryota. I wanted it so badly that I even became Ryota. And I let myself stay as him, even though I despised him more than I ever despised anyone. But even that isn't winning. That's just losing. Because to become Ryota would just be to win the battle and lose the war. I'm already inflicting injury on innocent students with a metal pipe, just like Ryota would. If I lost my own mind. Cute little display kid. Real cute. He's smiling assuredly, already recovered. His voice is calm. But I catch a note of tension that wasn't there before. I get the impression that I made a terrible mistake, and if I had proceeded, well, he would have snapped. What would happen if he snapped? He would murder everyone. Would we all look like these two students, bound to their chairs, broken, helpless, pleading for death? I shouldn't have tried. But what else should I have done? Just gone along with the status quo? Would that have resulted in anything different? Know what's interesting? You're still missing something, aren't you? You think you've read the whole book. You think you know how it ends. You think you know the whole pattern. But you're still blind. You see out of one eye, boy, but not the other. Missing? Part of the pattern? I don't understand. Don't say that out loud. So, by the way, if you hear like this little noise, it's because I have bells on my earrings. Because it is holiday time. Think harder, boy. So the sequence of deaths has to do with Yahiko. So what? So what? The broken gear in the back of my mind slowly begins to turn forward. Right. All the deaths revolve around Yahiko. Specifically, over time, those deaths have gotten closer and closer to their epicenter, almost like a whirlpool sucking in its surroundings, closer to Yahiko. Within the school, the closest people to Yahiko are me, Rui, and Masato, inseparable gang that hangs out together day in, day out, flailing through life with a bunch of rambunctious high school shenanigans. Of course, that was why he'd instantly pick up the phone. That was why he'd been prepared for my call. That was why he'd kidnapped Rui, because we were already the next ones on his list. No. Oh, that was quick. Congratulations. To be honest, boy, the Kuragane boy should be here too. But, guess what? He goes to bed too early, out like a light, doesn't answer his phone. I even prepared my whole excuse and everything. I suddenly feel so very tired, weighed down. My intellect is fraying away. I can feel my sanity bleeding out of my body. Just let it end. It was all planned from the very beginning. I can't keep holding out. I can't prolong this misery. I try to one-up Ryota, and I only end up in a worse state than before. If that trend continues, my eyes drift aimlessly to the ground, the pipe swaying limply between my fingers. Blood dripping quietly from the chairs, a small amount, a terrifying small amount, given how much damage we inflicted. How much internal bleeding must there be? How much pain? A lot. You broke bones. That's painful. Now I know Ryo's motive and history. So what? I'm still an accomplice in manslaughter, bit by bit wiping out the opportunities in this girl's life. The dream of playing on a sports team. The dream of being a pianist. The dream of marrying a normal guy and having normal kids. Shamelessly and brutally striking those dreams from existence with no method of recovery. She's someone who actually has opportunities in life, and they're being taken away by someone else. The injustice of the world. You better be grateful that I'm a patient man. A lesser being would have peeled your forearm in layers for your insolence. Ooh. The mental image pulses in front of my eyelids, and I stumble backward, nausea surging to my throat. That's right. I'm just a kid trying to fight a seasoned serial killer. What was I thinking? I use my hands and push against the desk shakily, trying to prop myself on my feet. I only collapse bonelessly to the ground, legs like gelatin. I can't continue this way, not much longer. I see blood on the edge of the pipe in my hands. Blood that's not there, but that I know isn't there. Is this missing a space, or is it just because it's italicized? but blood that still weeps down the metal and coats my hands. All is silent, save for the strangled sobs of 2 injured children, 2 dying siblings side by side. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. Well, guess it's my turn again. You know, I'm really giving you an advantage here by going first. Now you'll always be 1 hit ahead. Please, let's just stop. He ignores my faint whisper and steps forward, adjusting his grip on the pipe. The boy whimpers incomprehensible words spilling out of his mouth. Sorry, kids, but the world doesn't listen to begging. Neither will I. He swings the pipe with vindictive justice. Perhaps payback for my insolence. I flinch instinctively this time, barely missing the moment of impact. Oof. And then a chair screeching against the ground, a piercing scream that rends the air, a light, sweet chuckle from the man who's lost his mind. As I force my eyes open, I catch an unfamiliar and pungent smell. Vomit, dripping from the boy's mouth, pooling over the sides of the chair, the floor below. My stomach turns over, my grip rattles against the pipe. Oh yes, this is life, children. The beauty of pain has no substitute. I step forward, forcing words out of my dry mouth. We need to stop. I can't handle this. Ryota swivels on me, the joy in his eyes immediately dissipating. We're just getting to the good part. You saying you're going to forfeit? Quitters never prosper, boy. And you wonder why you never prosper? I drop to my knees harder than I intend. The shakiness of my limbs give my legs a solid blow against the ground. This is no longer an act. Groveling and showing vulnerability. It's not just another strategy anymore. I have no other way out, no other hope. Please, don't do this. Do what? I can't find the words, so I only sweep my hand around the room. Oh, all of this. The whole captivity thing, the game, the fun? I manage to nod. Then, will you lick my shoe? He stamps a foot in the puddle of the boy's vomit, shaking teasingly at me. I don't make a move. I'm waiting. I open my mouth, fighting for words. Nothing comes. The vomit gleams on the sole of his shoe, mocking me. Rui makes an instinctive sound of distress, gripping her chair with whitened hands. I stare at the shoe, willing myself to lean forward. I don't move. You see, boy, you're not ready to really beg. Why? Because you're still clinging to your pride, pathetic as it is. Some part of you believes that you still have control over the situation. Some part of you believes that some miracle will bail you out. If you were really ready to beg, if you really threw away your pride, you wouldn't be aiming for the limbs, no? When you hold that pipe, you would be aiming right at the skull. That is your only hope right now. The only hope of all of you. Death. But sadly for you, I don't like to rush my executions. It's just such a waste. I shakily clamber to my feet, weighing my arms on the table to pull myself up. Pride? Belief? Control over the situation. Do I really have any of those things? Maybe he's right. Maybe if I really was hopeless, I would have already crushed 2 skulls and resigned myself to a long, excruciating death. But here I stand, with the pipe ready to hit again. Why? So now that your little dramatic stint has ended, I believe it's time for your turn. He tilts his knife against the moonlight in Rui's direction, sending a fresh reminder of the stakes. Hit the girl, attack Ryota, or stall. our options again. We're gonna try to stall. Hopefully Shiguri actually legit shows up. So, you don't like to rush. I know your little tricks, boy, and I'm not in the mood to entertain them. I take that as yelling. I guess we'll hit her again. I still feel like, especially after he just got the crap kicked out of him, that if we attack Ryota, we'll die. So we're going to play along with the little game until like maybe the end, and it gives me an option. And then we'll see what those options are. I grip the pipe, arm shaking as I raise it over my shoulder. But aren't you stuck here forever? The fight, isn't it getting too tiring? Aren't you exhausted? You're not strong enough to face this. I shake my head and squeeze my eyes shut, trying to knock the voices out of my head. We can't do this, Yama. This is wrong. We can't. I swing the pipe. Oh. Ugh. No, no. The pipe drops out of my shaking fingers. I lean heavily against the nearest desk, my knees too weak to support my weight. I can't do this. Oh, sure you can. You're doing great. Ryota lifts the pipe over the boy whose face is coated in a mixture of sweat and tears, slicking his hair against his forehead. The boy's eyes slide to mine, blinking silently, hating the day he was born. Ryota sends an icy smirk, with a sheen of madness reminding me of my earlier behavior. Payback, he seems to be saying, but I do nothing. Yeah. The note is raw this time, raw from an overused throat that's been screaming for more than it should. When it descends into silence, I can hear the breaths of the two students rattling in their lungs, shallow and anguished. Blood is starting to trickle from their mouths, slowly, down the corner of their jaw, and dripping onto their pristine uniforms. Death would be a far better option. How much time has passed? It feels like days stretched out and pushed against each other. Practically, I know that it can't be more than a few hours. The sun hasn't started rising yet, but holding out for this long only seems to be like delaying the inevitable. And in the meantime, harming innocents along the way. Why did it have to be you? Ooh, be specific, boy. I wished it wasn't you. Shape up and tell me. Ambiguity helps no one. You shouldn't have been the killer, Ryota. He was supposed to help me. He was supposed to get me through school, through drama, through life. Not this. Never this. Oh, an option again. Hit the girl, attack Ryota, stall. Let's try stalling again. I thought you were with us. Why, do you feel betrayed? Hit the girl, attack Ryota, stall. He didn't yell at us. I thought, of all people, it wouldn't be you. Unfortunately, that is a fallacy in your own thinking. He still didn't yell at us, so... But why? Why you? You know nothing, boy. Quit your dawdling. Alright, hit the girl, attack Ryota, stall. Well, we'll hit the girl because he yelled at us. I raise the pipe, but my grip falters as my eyes turn to the girl. She no longer has hate in her gaze. She doesn't even have the slightest hint of anguish. Everything is just empty. I whisper again. That trivial excuse does nothing to help. the situation. I'm sorry. Okay, we'll stop here for this episode. This is again getting good. I wonder what kind of ending I'm going to get at this rate, with the fact that I'm beating this girl. Like, if I should have just attacked him from the get-go and I wouldn't have to be this abusive jerk. Well, we'll see next time. If you haven't already, liked, comment, subscribe. I am tatocat. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.